They lied to you. The world told you that if you work hard enough, you win. They told you that if you hustle until your eyes bleed, you will build an empire, find your soulmate, and achieve a state of permanent bliss. They sold you a dream of a life where the problems stop. Where the obstacles vanish. Where failure is something that happens to other people, the lazy, the uninspired, the weak. And you bought it. You bought the lie, hook, line, and sinker. You spent your savings on courses. You read the biographies of billionaires. You wake up at 4 in the morning to grind because some influencer in a rented Ferrari told you that sleep is for the poor. And yet, here you are. You aren't winning. You're terrified. You are terrified of the next email. You are terrified of the bank balance. You are terrified that if you stop running for 1 second, the entire house of cards you've built will come crashing down on your head. You call it ambition. I call it slavery. You aren't chasing success. You are running from the ghost of failure. And because you are so focused on running away, you have no idea where you are actually going. Stop doing it. Stop trying to fix your life by adding more complexity. Stop trying to manifest a reality that is fundamentally hostile to your desires. You are failing because your definition of failure is broken. You think failure is a result. You think failure is losing money, losing a job, or losing status. But those are just outcomes. Outcomes are outside of your control. And when you attach your identity to things outside of your control, you have surrendered your dignity. You have given away your power. You are not the master of your life, you are a puppet, and every minor setback is a tug on your strings that makes you dance in agony. If you are sick of the cycle, if you are done playing the game by rules written by people who want you to remain a consumer of their solutions, then hit that subscribe button. We don't do comfort here. We don't do fluff. We build minds that are unbreakable. If you want the truth, you belong here. Let's get to work. Look at the history of the world. Really look at it. The people we consider the most successful, the most resilient, the most invincible, do you think they lived lives without failure? Do you think Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, sat on his throne and thought, I have optimized everything, so now I will never suffer? No. His life was a nightmare. He was surrounded by betrayal. His own children died. His empire was ravaged by the Antonine Plague. He spent years in freezing, muddy tents on the border of the Danube, fighting barbarians while his own body withered from chronic illness. Seneca, the great statesman, was banished, forced to live in the desolate wasteland of Corsica, and eventually ordered to commit suicide by a tyrant. Epictetus lived his entire life in the chains of a slave, crippled by his master. These men didn't have hacks to avoid failure. They didn't have apps to track their dopamine. They didn't have self-help gurus telling them to stay positive. They had something much more dangerous. They had the dichotomy of control. They realized that the world is a chaotic, irrational, often cruel place. They understood that you can do everything right, you can work the hardest, be the kindest, be the smartest, and you can still lose. You can still fail. You can still die. The Stoics didn't view this as a tragedy. They viewed it as the fundamental nature of reality. And because they expected the worst, because they prepared for it, because they accepted it before it even happened, nothing could touch them. Modern weakness is the desire for a guarantee. You want a guarantee that your investment will pay off. You want a guarantee that your relationship will last. You want a guarantee that people will like you. That desire for a guarantee is the root of your anxiety. It is the root of your paralysis. It is the root of your failure. The 2,000-year-old mind hack isn't about positive thinking. It is the exact opposite. It is Premeditatio Malorum. The premeditation of evils. Most people spend their lives visualizing success. They create vision boards. They dream of the promotion. They dream of the luxury car. And when the car doesn't come, or the promotion goes to the guy who kissed the boss's ass, they spiral. They feel the sting of failure because their reality failed to match their delusion. The Stoic does the opposite. The Stoic sits in the quiet of the morning and imagines the worst. Imagine you lose your job today. Imagine your partner walks out. Imagine your business fails and you are left with nothing. Imagine your reputation is destroyed. You don't just think about it, you visualize the sensation of it. You feel the cold of the empty room. You feel the sting of the loss. You stare at the monster until the monster becomes familiar. And you know what happens. The fear vanishes. When you have already walked through the fire in your mind, the flames of reality no longer burn you. You realize that even if you lose everything, you are still here. You are still breathing. You still have your reason. You still have your character. You still have the ability to choose your response. And if you have that, you have everything. You become immune to the what-ifs, because you have already answered them. This isn't pessimism. It is the ultimate form of optimism. It is the optimism of a man who knows he can survive anything. We have to talk about identity. Because this is where most people get it wrong. You think you are what you do. You think you are your job title. You think you are your bank account. You think you are the number of followers you have. That is why you are fragile. Because if your identity is tied to your job, and you lose your job, you die. Your ego dies. Your worth evaporates. The Stoics had a different identity. They were not defined by their output. They were defined by their intent. When you wake up, you do not ask, how can I win today? That is a trap. That puts the power in the hands of the market, the boss, the economy. Instead, you ask, how can I act with excellence today? How can I act with justice? How can I act with courage? When you focus on the process of your character, failure becomes impossible. Think about that. How can you fail if your goal is just to do the right thing? If your goal is to be honest, and you are honest, you succeeded. If your goal is to work hard, and you work hard, you succeeded. The outcome is not your business. The outcome belongs to the universe. Your only business is the input. Your only business is the quality of your action in this very second. This is the paradigm shift that will break the chains of your anxiety. You stop playing a game you cannot control. You stop trying to manipulate the wind. You become the sailor who adjusts the sails. The wind blows how it wants. You simply adjust. You have spent so much time being angry at the weather. Why is it raining? Why is there a storm? The Stoic looks at the storm and says, good. A storm. Let me see how well I can navigate these waves. This is amor fati. The love of fate. It doesn't mean you like bad things. It means you embrace them. You treat every obstacle, every failure, every insult, every tragedy as if it were a gift sent to you specifically to test your mettle. Because it is a gift. If your life were a smooth, paved road, you would never develop the muscles to climb the mountain. You would remain soft. You would remain infantile. You need the resistance. You need the failure. You need the pain. When you stop trying to avoid the pain, you become dangerous. You become a person who cannot be threatened. What can you take from a man who has already accepted that he might lose everything? What can you do to a man who says, everything that happens to me is fuel for my growth? You can't do anything. He is untouchable. He is a force of nature. People talk about finding their purpose. They act like purpose is some hidden treasure map they need to find. It isn't. Purpose is not something you find, it is something you forge. It is the byproduct of discipline. It is the byproduct of doing the hard thing, the right thing, when no one is watching and the reward is nowhere to be found. Most people are waiting for motivation. They think they need to feel like doing the work. They think they need to feel inspired. What a joke. The Stoics didn't rely on feelings. Feelings are fickle. Feelings are weather. Feelings change by the hour. Principles. Principles are the bedrock. You must build a routine that is independent of your mood. When you are tired, you work. When you are sad, you work. When you are discouraged, you work. You do it not because you feel like it, but because it is the nature of your role. You are a human being, and the nature of a human being is to reason and to act. When you stop acting, you are essentially dead. You are a vegetable in a suit. Do you see the difference? The successful person today is usually miserable, medicated, and burnt out. The Stoic is calm, focused, and steady. The successful person is terrified of the floor falling out. The Stoic is happy on the floor because he knows he can build from there. You have been looking at failure as an ending. You need to look at it as a refining fire. Think about the gold. How do you get gold? You crush the rock. You heat it. You melt it. You separate the impurities. The gold doesn't complain about the heat. The gold is the heat. Your struggles are the furnace. You are being refined. The man you are right now is not the man you need to be to achieve what you want. The man you are right now is the man who needs to be burned away. Let him burn. Let the insecurities burn. Let the need for validation burn. Let the ego burn. Let it all turn to ash. You are terrified of being no one. But being no one is the highest state of freedom. When you are no one, you have nothing to lose. When you are no one, you are capable of becoming anyone. You need to ruthlessly audit your life. Every single thing you do. Ask yourself, does this matter? Does your reputation with your coworkers matter? No. They will forget you in 6 months. Does the car you drive matter? No. It's just a box on wheels. Does the opinion of your family, your friends, your internet trolls matter? No. They don't have to live your life. You do. The only thing that matters is the integrity of your own mind. That is the only place you have to live. If your mind is chaotic, your life is a prison. If your mind is ordered, your life is a palace. Stop trying to expand your territory and start fortifying your mind. You have been building outward, trying to acquire land, money, influence. But your walls are made of paper. The first wind of hardship tears them down. You need to build inward. You need to build stone by stone, thought by thought, virtue by virtue. Start with the morning. Don't look at your phone. Do not let the world write your script for the day. Before you engage with anyone, engage with yourself. Remind yourself, today I will encounter meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly people. Say it out loud. Why? Because when you encounter them, you won't be surprised. You won't be triggered. You will be prepared. You will look at them and think, ah, yes. As predicted. I will act with kindness anyway. That is power. That is control. Then, manage your perceptions. Every event is neutral. It is your judgment that makes it good or bad. The stock market crashed. That is an event. I am ruined is your judgment. The person cut you off in traffic. That is an event. They are disrespecting me is your judgment. Change the judgment, change the emotion. It is a simple algorithm. If you don't like the result, check your inputs. You have the power to reframe every single experience. You have the power to say, this is not an evil. This is an opportunity. And finally, master your actions. Don't do the things that are easy. Do the things that are necessary. Do the things that are hard. Because the hard things are the ones that actually build the bridge to where you want to go. The easy path is the path to nowhere. Everyone takes the easy path. That's why everyone is mediocre. If you want to be exceptional, you must be comfortable being the only person in the room who is willing to suffer. We are entering a new era. The world is getting faster, louder, and more chaotic. The people who are tethered to the external world are going to be ripped apart. They are going to lose their minds because their minds are not their own. They are rented by the media, by the trends, by the opinions of strangers. You are going to be the eye of the storm. You will stand still while everything else spins. You will be the rock in the river. The water crashes against you, but you do not move. You are immovable because your foundation is the truth. And the truth is simple: you are in control of your mind. That is all. That is enough. Do not fear the failure. Fear the lack of character. Fear the lack of spine. Fear the man who gives up because the path got steep. That man is a ghost. Do not become that ghost. You are made of the same atoms as the stars. You are the universe observing itself. You have within you a spark of the divine. Why do you spend your life worrying about such small, petty things? Why do you spend your life cowering in the corner? Stand up. Straighten your back. Look the world in the eye. There is work to be done. There is a life to be lived. There is an example to be set. You do not need permission to be great. You do not need the approval of the crowd. You need only the courage to be yourself, in accordance with the reality of the world. The anxiety is gone. The noise has faded. The path is clear. Everything you need is already inside you. Now, stop talking about it. Stop reading about it. Stop planning for it. Go do the work.